Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Rustabout Collector here. Today we are taking a look at the Micro Galaxy Squadron Muunilinst 10 Republic Gunship from Jazwares. But wait, hang on a second. We gotta... Oh, that's better. This is the all-new Series 3 Muunilinst 10 Republic Gunship from Jazwares. This is part of the Micro Galaxy Squadron series, and I have reviewed other ships from this line on my channel, and if you can believe it, this is the 5th version of the Republic Gunship we have gotten from Jazwares. Now, I think it's safe to say that most of us probably had the same thought when Jazwares first announced their Republic Gunship last year, and that is that this is the repaint we all wanted. I cannot think of a more iconic Republic Gunship paint scheme, and honestly this has been my favorite variation since I first saw the 2003 Clone Wars. So as you might imagine, I am very excited to get into this review. Now, as I posted over on Instagram and YouTube, this did go live for pre-order over on Amazon with an expected shipping date of May 4th, but then they just kind of randomly started shipping early. So a lot of people actually got these in hand before I even did, like last week, which is really incredible. It is part of the mainline release of Series 3. So far as I know, it is not exclusive to Amazon or any other retailer, and it's also not a chase or rare variant of the MGS line. So we should see these stocked pretty well in pretty much any retailer. Of course, this comes in a pretty similar packaging to what we've gotten before with the Republic Gunships. Has this really cool chrome lettering down at the bottom that says what variation of the gunship it is. The display window is really nice as well. I think these look awesome for carded collectors or in-box collectors. Kind of gives it a look like it's flying, and then you have the characters displayed nicely in this almost miniature packaging that they're kind of like subset into. Speaking of miniatures, we have two very exciting additions to the Micro Galaxy Squadron army. We have the Tartakovsky Blue ARC Trooper and Commander Fordo, or just an ARC Trooper Commander, but it's Captain Fordo. We all know that's Captain Fordo. These both are brand new sculpts, and I cannot wait to get them out of the packaging and see how they look paired with this gunship. The side of the box has this absolutely amazing artwork with the Tiger Shark gunship there in flight with lasers blasting. It looks absolutely stunning. Now, a fun little fact about this paint scheme, this is actually meant to represent a Rancor with like the nose and everything, and the nose ring and the eyes. The only reason I know that is from the 2003 Tartakovsky Clone Wars commentary. You could watch that on like the DVD, and they explain that that is meant to be a Rancor. Coming around to the back here, we have the blueprints explaining the different features that this ship has, as well as an exciting look at the rest of Series 3. I'm particularly excited for this V-Wing that comes with a Phase 2 clone pilot, as well as these Jedi Interceptors. These look really awesome, and I love that Episode 3 look for the Jedi Starfighter. But without further ado, let's break this packaging open and take a look at the coolest Republic gunship ever made. So here it is, the Micro Galaxy Squadron Muunilinst 10 Republic Gunship. Out of the packaging, this is everything that I was hoping it would be. We have the little clone pilot, we have the little ARC troopers, and the paint scheme on this Republic Gunship is absolutely gorgeous. Later in this video, after we've gone over all the details of this MGS line gunship, I'm going to showcase and compare all of my other Tiger Shark gunships that I have in my collection. I'm fairly confident I have every single one ever made by different toy brands, but I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, you can leave that down in the comments. However, right now we are focusing all of our attention on this brand new one from Jazwares. So to start things off, let's take a look at the little miniatures that we get with this gunship. First up, we have the Clone Trooper pilot. We have seen this before with all the other Republic gunships. I am very glad that they included one with this set, however, I wish it was the accurate blue Clone Trooper pilot. In the Clone Wars episode that features the Tiger Shark gunship, there actually is a blue Clone Trooper pilot with a Death Watch symbol on his helmet. I'll throw up a picture here on the side so you can see it is a pretty cool Clone Trooper design, and I do wish that they had just replaced this little yellow marking here with blue instead. It might be a bit of a deep cut because he's only really featured in one brief little scene, but for the fans of the Tiger Shark gunship, I think they would have appreciated that little detail. Next up, we have the standard blue ARC Trooper. This guy looks so cool. He has the same articulation as previous clone troopers with just the swivel at the arms, and the swivel at the hips, but there is some all new sculpt work with this pauldron, the cama wrapping around his legs, and of course the little rangefinder on the helmet. And even at this tiny scale, we have some fantastic detail, like sculpted DC-17 pistols in his holster, and those have paint apps there, as well as the blue striping on the helmet, and those little details are so impressive when you're dealing with a figure that stands less than 1 inch tall. And of course, we cannot forget the main man himself, Captain Fordo, or just the ARC Trooper Commander, but it's Captain Fordo in all of our hearts. It's the same sculpt as the blue ARC Trooper, just painted in red, and I think that is perfectly fitting for these characters. They are pretty much identical in the cartoon, though I think we only ever see one blue ARC Trooper that has holsters. Again, that's a very deep cut, niche little thing that most of the blue ARC Troopers don't carry dual DC-17s, but that is not something I'm going to nitpick over. I am so stoked to have these in little 1 inch miniature form. The only thing that I could wish for would be that there was 10 of these blue ARC Troopers included with this set. I know that would never happen, but then with one pack you could have the full Muunilinst 10, and you know, that'd be pretty cool. Once again, with all these figures from the Micro Galaxy Squadron series, I am blown away by the sculpt work and the detail that goes into them. Even though you may not see it right away when you look at them, having one of these in hand and taking an up-close look at it, you can see all the little details on the belts, the armor, the faces if the characters don't have helmets, and just every little nook and cranny is jam-packed with detail, and I absolutely think that is incredible when you're dealing with, once again, minifigures that are less than 1 inch tall. I have seen community members put paint washes over these figures, and that really pops out a lot of the detail. That may be something I do, like I might pick up a few more of these Tiger Shark Gunships, paint Commander Fordo to look like the other blue ARC Troopers, and try and fill out that Muunilinst 10. And along the way, I may use some paint washes just to pop out some of those really beautiful sculpt details. Now then, taking a look at the Republic Gunship itself, if you've handled one of the Micro Galaxy Squadron gunships before, there's not going to be anything new here. This is the same ship that we've handled before, but just done in a new paint scheme. However, this might be your first time picking up one of the Micro Galaxy Squadron ships, and if that's the case, then we're going to go over all the little details just to be safe. This gunship is absolutely loaded with great paint detail, sculpt detail, and just weathering all over. The MGS line really shines when it comes to sculpt work and just really intricate detail in all these fantastic and iconic Star Wars ships. First and foremost, there are a lot of places you can place the miniature characters and have them kind of decking out your Republic gunship. The canopy opens, allowing you to place 2 clone trooper pilots inside. These ball turrets open up as well, allowing you to place clone troopers in there. The ball turrets can also be articulated up and down on this hinge, and these side doors open up to reveal the troop bay. And that is where you can place 4 clone troopers on these little clips. With the troop bay filled, this ship looks very menacing and ready for action. I can't wait to fill it up the rest of the way with more of these blue ARC troopers. That will just look so cool, just like the cartoon. And as for some other cool little play features, the ball turrets on the wings can be swiveled side to side. The front facing cannons are on a ball joint that can be swiveled all the way around. The rear facing turret is also on a ball joint, so you can position that as you so desire. And on the top we have this panel that can be removed to reveal the really nicely detailed rockets for the gunship. I love the really shiny metallic paint that they've used here. It looks really good. But if you're not as much a fan, or you just don't want to dust all those little details, you can always just cover it right back up with this panel and it will snap back into place. And also this back panel opens and you can place a bark speeder on this little peg and close it up with it still on there. It's just another really cool way that you can have some storage features and really make this decked out full of clones and vehicles. Now we definitely have to take a minute here and just appreciate the detail on this beautifully painted Rancor face on the front of this gunship. It is such an iconic look, and I can remember the first time seeing this in the Clone Wars, and this was really the first time we ever saw a gunship have unique deco. Before that, they were all the green and maroon color that we saw in Attack of the Clones, and then this one pops up, and boy was this a great way to start the first ever painted Republic gunships. It's a fantastic homage to the old World War II fighter planes, and I'm sure that that was what Tartakovsky was going for with this design, and incorporating it into the Star Wars universe by making it a Rancor is such a nice way of kind of world building this ship and the story behind it. Another fantastic detail is that this entire ship is covered in a nice paint wash. It really helps bring out all the sculpt work detail that is going on all over this gunship, and it also takes down some of that more plasticky shine that this might have otherwise. otherwise, dulls it down, makes it look very battle-worn, very rugged, and it gives a nice modeled look to this. It doesn't feel like a plastic miniature anymore. It feels like you are holding a gunship, a proper Republic gunship. So I gotta say, this is pretty much the perfect Micro Galaxy Squadron release. Now this is going to retail for $29.99. That is what I picked it up for on Amazon. It should be popping up through other retailers soon as well. Hopefully Target will have it on their website, and ideally everyone will be able to get their hands on this eventually. For $30, I feel like there is a lot of value there, especially with the two brand new sculpted ARC troopers and all of the amazing paint details that are going on here. My one and only gripe with this set is just that I wish that pilot had blue markings. That's really it. Apart from that, it would be nice if we got 2 pilots per gunship. That way we didn't have to try and get another pilot when we bought these. And you know, I could always use more ARC troopers, especially because it is the Muunilinst 10 and you kind of got to have 10 ARC troopers for that. But I never expected them to include those in a set like this, and I'm very pleased to have what we did get here. Now, I might be a little bit biased and I might be a little bit blinded by nostalgia, but I would say if you're going to pick up any one particular Micro Galaxy Squadron vehicle, this is the one to get. It's a great introduction to the line. The Republic Gunship in general is just that. It's a great introduction to the line, but this one in particular with the Tiger Shark paint scheme looks amazing. You get 2 really cool, unique clone troopers, and of course it has all the great functionality of the other Republic gunships. Again, that might just be my bias talking. I do so love this paint scheme. It is my favorite Star Wars vehicle design of all time. But even so, from an objective standpoint, this is still a fantastic, fantastic little vehicle. And it has some cool practical use. If you're into toy photography, this can be used to do some scaling where you could have this in the background and like a 3 3/4 inch figure closer to the camera, forcing that perspective and making it look like there's a gunship parked in the background. Or maybe you're just a little bit more limited on space as a collector and you can't get something as large as the 3 3/4 inch Hasbro version. So you get something like this to represent such an iconic ship design in your collection, and it only takes up, you know, 10 inches square on your shelf. Now, before I wrap up this video, I want to do a quick comparison between all of the other Tiger Shark gunships that I have in my collection. Throughout my years of collecting, I have just tried to pick up any variation of the ship that I can find. There's only a few, but they are some really, really cool and iconic toys. First up is this little Titanium Series 1 that I showed at the start of this video. These were released back in like 2005 or 6, I believe. There was a whole series of these little metal vehicles, and this is just one of many repaints that they did. And this is my smallest Tiger Shark gunship. Next up, we have the Deluxe Titanium Series. This is also a die-cast version of the Republic Gunship. It has a lot more moving parts like these ball turrets and an opening cockpit. It's very hefty and very, very cool as well. Something else that's interesting between all these different versions is the different colors we're getting. This is a much more light sand blue. This is almost borderline gray, and this is a little bit more in line with the MGS color scheme. Something I just noticed though between some of these other versions and the Micro Galaxy Squadron version, and that's that the MGS line one doesn't have the black outlines around all the different paint markings. That might be an oversight, or it could be a production choice where maybe it was just too expensive to do that type of printing on these sloped pieces and such. It's hard to say from the outside looking in, but I would say if that bothers you, it'd be really easy to get like a fine tip Sharpie and just trace those lines, give it that much more contrasty look that we see on some of these other versions. And at the end of the day, it just kind of comes down to personal preference. Then we also have the Tactics Republic Gunship. Yes, the beloved toy line and game Tactics. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Tactics. I've played the game quite a few times with friends. It is a blast, and I'm so happy that I have the Tiger Shark gunship in that kind of silly, cartoonish, stylized world of Tactics. And for those that might be unaware, yes, this does detach. There's a play feature where you can use the troop bay to pick up fallen troopers, and of course, you have the spring-loaded dart on the front. It's such a goofy game, and I absolutely love it. And recently, I acquired one of the final pieces to this collection, the transforming Tiger Shark Republic Gunship. This is one of those classic Star Wars Transformer crossovers, and yes, it's the Tiger Shark Gunship. I will do a full Clone Trooper Oddity video on this someday soon, but one of the main things that makes this exciting and extremely interesting for my review of this MGS one is that the very first release of this Transformer Gunship came with a little ARC Trooper miniature. Now stylistically, this is going to be a lot more based off of the 2004 Hasbro ARC Troopers, where they have a lot of pouches on their chest and the oversized pauldrons. However, I just think it's a really fun comparison to have these two next to each other. Unfortunately, these two figures don't scale super well together. The Transformers crossover figure is about a head taller than the MGS figure. However, in a lineup or in a troop bay, I think these figures would work pretty well together. And maybe if you wanted to, you could just say that this is Alpha 17, since I think in the comics he was a rather large and bulky clone trooper compared to some of the other ones. Either way, I thought that would be a fun little comparison to showcase the very first ARC Trooper miniature ever made and the most recent. And then finally, the behemoth of them all. We're going to have to zoom out pretty far for this one. The 2005 Hasbro 3 3/4 inch Tiger Shark Gunship. This was an absolute grail of mine, one that I always wanted as a kid and finally was able to pick up about a year or so ago from a fellow collector. It is the pride and joy of my collection and one thing that I will absolutely never part with. For a fun little comparison, there is the size difference between the massive 3 3/4 inch Tiger Shark Gunship and the much smaller little Micro Galaxy Squadron version. And for even more fun, we can include the little Titanium Series 1, and now we have the grandfather, the father, and the son. But anyways, that is where I am wrapping up my review of the Micro Galaxy Squadron Tiger Shark Gunship from Jazwares. That is quite a mouthful to say every time, but I hope you liked this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and leave a comment down below which of these is your favorite version of the Tiger Shark Gunship. Me personally, as weird as it is, it's kind of gotta be the Transformers crossover. It's just so wacky that it's actually cool. As always, there's a link down in the description to my Instagram where I post toy photography and toy news and just toy related content in general. I post links to things like this on my story when they go live, so it gives a chance for other collectors to get these into their collections. Now, if you missed out on this one, don't worry, I'm sure that they will go in stock again soon, so keep an eye out and I will be sure to keep you all posted on when they go live again so that you too can get your hands on one of these awesome Tiger Shark gunships. But anyways, that is where I am finally wrapping up this video. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful evening, noon, or night, depending on when you're watching this video. And as always, I'll catch you all in the next video.